We're here at Toronto Cider Festival 2018. Overlander Cider joining us. New to us. Tell us a little bit about where you came from and what's going on.
Cool. So I am Luke. I am 1/4 of the Overlander Cider brand. Basically, we're two sets of brothers. Our motto is created by two sets of brothers who take the roads less traveled. And so we sought out to create one of the dry ciders on the market. As Kitchener-Waterloo, half of us raised in Niagara-on-the-Lake. Our apples are all sourced from KW region and produced in Niagara-on-the-Lake. So half and half kind of story. And with reaching out for the dry cider on the market, it's actually opened us up to a whole new sort of avenue for licensees in the city that have sort of been looking for that right now. And cider is always, of course, known for its sugary side of things. So our response has been really, really overwhelming with how dry it actually is and how how tasteable it is, to use that word. So as a dry cider, it sort of resembles a wine spritzer, and obviously produced on Niagara-on-the-Lake Palatine Hills Winery. I'm an award-winning winery. We're super excited to be collaborating, and so look out for a peach cider potentially next year. We're working out the details of that right now.
How did you get started into all of it? It sounds like you've been traveled, as you sort of said. Is there somewhere abroad or maybe somewhere local that really inspired you?
So actually, my brother and I, Mark here, we actually run a coffee company called Ubuntu, which is basically importing Ugandan beans. So obviously we've spent a lot of time in Africa, East Africa, and Overlander is obviously known for traveling around the world, sort of intercontinental sort of world traveler. So that's where the name came from, sort of goes along with, the roads less traveled, so to speak. Does that answer your question? Oh, sorry, no, we got started because actually our parents have a small heritage orchard with about 15 heritage apple trees. And so Mark and I would take the apples and sort of mess around with apple varietals and sort of different taste profiles. So when we actually started with John and Charles in Niagara, we bring our batches to Niagara and we sort of ferment them for a while. And we do a very hands-on approach as opposed to just buying juice like on the masses, like a lot of companies would potentially do. So we sort of really started organically with how we actually sourced our apples from our own orchard, and then sort of tested what sort of profile we were actually hoping to achieve with that, as opposed to testing out the marketplace.
So you're here. This is the first time we've seen you here, and one of the bigger festivals I'm assuming you've been at. What are you expecting today and tomorrow to happen?
So we were a late edition, so it's a mad dash for us to get our presence here today, but we're expecting about 5,000 people today. They say 6,000 tomorrow. Hopefully the other half of Overlanders that'll be here tomorrow. There's a wedding happening in our crew tomorrow. So, but yeah, we're expecting, cider is obviously growing. It's looking to be I wouldn't use the word saturated, but exciting is the word I use, because obviously beer is Beer Fest in Toronto is massive with 40, 50 vendors they have there and all the bands and Canadian bands. So it's nice to see cider picking up, and hopefully people ask the right questions that they can sort of answer with, look, anyone can sort of start any company they want kind of thing. But obviously cider is, need the right partners, and we were lucky to find the right partners to do it.
And when we started, it was 2015, and there was only maybe 15 or so cideries actually doing their thing. Now we're looking close to 90, and we're only 3 years later on, with a lot of people sort of coming into the market. So there's a new opportunity and new experience. So we're seeing a lot of it here. Are there big goals and visions that you have going forward, or are we at the point where you're like, hey, I've done a really nice cider, I'm happy with what I do, let's enjoy what we have in the community that we're with? Are there some aspirations?
Yeah, I think it's half and half for us, because we obviously started this with moderate hopes of what we could accomplish, but it took us about a year to really get into different licensees, and now that we're in a few very good placed licensees in the city of Toronto especially, it's actually opened up a new door for us. We're pretty strategic with who's carrying us in Toronto, as our sort of outreach and production value is a bit moderate as a comparison to the units that other licensees would put out, but so we're still considered micro, but with big reach and a big presence with the different establishments that carry us in Toronto is definitely helping us out.
And just to wrap up, because we are talking all about cider, what's your preference for a non-cider?
Ugandan gin.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best for today and tomorrow, and looking forward to having a chance to sit down and review it properly, and we'll get it up on our website shortly. So.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.